Mic check. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, first of all, you have no idea how good it felt to say that or to just do that. I have not done that in months. Y'all, welcome back to this episode of Off the Grid Podcast where I said what I said and I meant it. Did we catch that? We got that? We got that on these two? Cool. I'm excited, right? First of all, I have not been in the studio in so long, and for those of you that know me good enough, podcasting is my thing. So it's like therapeutic and it's fun to do. You just get to express yourself. You just can't say too much though. I have a guest with me today. Really awesome person. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. So I have one question. What do you do outside of school? This, of course.
I draw. I play video games. I've been into cyberpunk lately, and I've also been, dabbling in The Sims 4 a little bit.
Okay, so explain The Sims to me because I don't understand the hype, but I do.
Cause it's like I don't really know how to explain the appeal behind it. Cause I feel like me personally, since I like to control things, it's like I'm able to control them.
Oh,
in their
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I've always tried to understand the hype behind The Sims, and I've even tried to play it. I don't understand it. So I was wondering, so it's the control factor. You get to essentially control everything that happens in the. That's new because everybody plays it, everybody does it, but I never knew. Also, explain cyberpunk.
So, it's like. I'm trying to think of the synopsis of it, but basically you're in a post-futuristic world where everybody's kind of part cyborg in a way.
Why does that sound cool?
It is.
Why does that
it's
sound
so cool?
Why does that sound really, really cool?
It is.
Thought about it at first. It was like, oh, so it's half man, half robot.
Mm-hmm. And it's character customization. So you could because I made myself, and it's it's just really.
You're gonna have to show me how that goes because I have no idea. All right, let's get into our topic for today, mental health. So, at what point did you realize that you had to care for your mental health a little bit more?
I want to say probably 7th grade when I was in middle school.
Was that the point for everybody? Because
it might have been because middle school was rough. I feel like middle school was rough for everybody.
Honey, at least I ain't the only one that got that opinion. Because 7th grade just seemed to be the culmination of everything just simultaneously hitting the fan at one point in time. And then it either got better or progressively worse and then got better. There was no gray area.
Yeah.
So, okay, why, but I guess I asked for you, why in 7th grade though?
There was a lot of stuff just going on with me personally, with family. And I think the fact of, I think the fact that, I didn't really have a lot of friends and I had just moved to a new city, new middle school. I didn't know a lot of people.
Oh, so it was completely new. There was no.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Granted, from what you're telling me, it's it is an experience, more in depth. Was it rough? Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's you're going into a whole new world, though.
Yeah.
And that's scary, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's really, really scary. And only because now you got to figure out. Okay, so I have to say this. Have you ever noticed, when you are going into a completely different world, doesn't it feel like a reset, though? Because you're coming from something familiar to a fairly new.
In a negative or a positive way?
Which way was it for you?
It's always been negative for me. I'm a creature of habit. I like to do certain things in a certain way. So it's when something breaks up that schedule, it stresses me out a lot.
Okay.
It's the whole move, the whole going to a new school and stuff, just meeting new people. It disrupted my pattern a lot. So, and I think that's when it really I don't want to say a switch flipped, because I feel almost every single year it's something new is coming up.
New happens.
Right, it's every new year a switch is flipped. But I really feel that's when I was that. I feel that's when it really was oh.
Mm-hmm.
Might have to talk to
we
somebody
need to
about
start.
that.
We need to start caring just a wee bit more.
Right.
Okay, so I guess I had that same experience too, though, because I think in seventh grade I did a really interesting thing that I normally A would not have done and B wouldn't have even thought about doing it. And it happened and it happened so fast. By the time that it all happened, I definitely sat down and was like, oh, wait a minute. We might have a problem here.
Yeah.
We might have a big problem here. And because nothing really slowed down, like it's not like you said we have a problem and then all of a sudden it just kind of slowed down. It kind of gets worse.
Yeah.
Like it picks up, like it's faster now that you're trying to care for it. And I've always wondered why that is. It's because like, okay, we need to care for it, and you start caring for it, and da-da-da-da. And then I realized that life doesn't slow down.
At all.
Once I got that realization, I grieved, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I knew that even though I was going to have a breakdown at some point, and don't get me wrong, it happened, but I still had to pick myself up and figure out how I was gonna like recover. Because one thing I realized is sometimes it's not the fall. Sometimes it's like essentially how do you recover from it though? Like has that ever been your experience where you've like gone through something that's like you had to recover?
Yeah. Literally it happened like October, November. Like it was really, really rough because not only was it something that was so like long story short, I had trusted people with information and obviously they didn't care. So it was spread around a friend group. And just the anxiety about it and just feeling like, oh my God, everyone knows everything. And it's like,
scary.
Terrifying.
That's
oh
scary.
My God, it's horrible. And it's like, you're sitting there literally falling apart in front of everybody and everyone can see it. It's on your face. It's not like you can like go and hide it. Like no, everyone knows.
Everybody knows.
Everyone can see it. And it's like typically you think, "Oh, yeah, they're my friends, they'd help me." No. It's like everyone just watched you fall.
Can we talk about that though? How is it that high school is that experience?
I feel like it's like that for everybody.
So I'm sitting here senior year about to go to college, and then I realize that high school is ghetto.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
High school is ghetto, and not just because of like, well, I mean, of course it depends on what high school you go to. My high school experience was much different because I didn't get the typical high school experience.
Oh, no, me neither.
I go to Baltimore School for the Arts. Honey, typical and normal is far from the experience that I had. But not a bad thing. But then I realized that the people are ghetto.
It's most of the time, it's not the school, it's the people. Because for my freshman year, I went to Western Tech.
I didn't say it, I just agreed. I'm just letting you know right now. I didn't say it.
But yeah, for my freshman year, I went to Western Tech in the county. And I was like really, really excited to start, a new school. And, because at that point, I was feeling better. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe this will be good. And there's still some people at that school that I know. Mm-hmm. I feel like the first, month, it was just, I just didn't fit in with the school, me personally. And I think that was a really, really big issue with it as well.
Can we also talk about that, too? Not fitting in? I feel like, here's my thing. So, I have always, my experience of being different is that being different is okay. So in saying that, it's okay to be different, you want to be different, but being different sucks. It's because being different is lonely.
And being different, you can see it more.
And being different, you can see just how much people just conform to what's popular.
Yeah.
And that is the ghetto part. It's because you're not going to do it, but you can see how many people that you thought were different and that you thought were a different person really aren't that different. And you get disappointed. Like you get disappointed when you have to distance yourself from people and you have to walk away from certain people and things because you realize you are not who I thought you were. That is
snaps.
I
can't snap, but snaps.
That is where high school I realized was ghetto. Mm-hmm. Is because the amount of times that, and because I have a big heart, that hurts even more. It would be different if I was just a cold person and could just walk away with no strings attached. I have a big heart.
You're empathetic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have to realize that you have to do it. You don't want it. Stuff that you have to do, you don't want to do. Stuff the decision, like, and it's okay to still grieve a very necessary decision. Yeah. It's okay to still feel a certain way about a very necessary decision. But if your decision is final and you know it needs to stay final,
and it hurts. It sucks.
Painful is an understatement.
And
that, I feel like that takes a toll on the mental too, is because now you got to deal with that and everything else that's going to come after, and the recovery that you got to have before.
Yeah.
Life is so weird.
Life is just
weird.
hard.
life is weird. I'm saved, but life is ghetto. Life is ghetto. It's because there's just so many things that, like, you can't, some of that stuff you can't stop.
Yeah.
Now, it would be different if you had self-inflicted stuff. But some of that stuff you can't stop as a person. So what would you say to your younger self to help you get through school, being different, caring for the mental health? What would you say to your younger self?
Ooh, that's heavy.
Ain't it?
But and it's something my therapist taught me. Progress.
Therapy. Boom. Boom.
You need it.
Therapy. Okay, can we just pause and clap for therapy? Because at this point, y'all.
But I feel like one thing I would tell myself is, like, progress is not linear.
Hey.
Hold up. Say that again.
Progress is not linear.
That is what y'all call a full circle moment in alignment.
I will cry. Wait.
Feel her in a while.
Oh! Okay. So, we had a guest that said the exact, when I tell you word for word, that exact quote that you just said, word for, do y'all have the same therapist? Do we all have the same therapist?
I don't know.
Do we have the same therapist? Because whoever his therapist is, he, she, or they is blessing us. Okay? Because that thing almost made me cry the first time. And I'm about to cry again. Okay? But we had a guest that said the exact same thing. So I'm going to ask you the same thing that I asked that guest. Unpack that. Progress is not linear.
I mean, and it's something that I had to tell myself a lot. Because you think that, oh, when, like, you know, you're in therapy and you're going to get better, everything's just going to just go up. But it's like, you're going to fall down. There are going to be low points. It has to get bad before it gets good. Then sometimes once it gets good, it can get bad. Or, like, if it's good, it can just stay good. Or if it's bad, it might just stay bad. It really, like, it's not linear. And it's a marathon, not a race.
Unpack that. Because that's deep. Okay, to my head, that's much deeper than you thought it was.
I don't know. Because it's like, it's slow. It's going to take a while. And, like, because you assume, like, oh, I'm in therapy in the next, like, few months, I'll be fine. No. I've been in therapy for, like, I want to say 6 years, and I'm still going. Because it's, like, it takes a while. And, of course, like, yeah, there's progress. Like, me now versus me when I was, like, 12 years old, two different people. Two totally different people. But that's because of all the things that I've learned. And all the things I've taken with me. It's like, you know what? Even though I'm not feeling really good right now, I feel a lot better than how I was when I was 12 years old.
That's good. What would I tell my younger self? It's okay to cry. And I think I would tell my younger self that is because I did a thing where I hid a lot of my feeling, or not necessarily hid it, but I didn't necessarily speak up that I was feeling it. Granted, some people knew and some people didn't, but that's because they figured it out, not because I said anything. And so a lot of times I just suppressed it and kept going. And to save myself from the breakdown that I had, I would probably tell myself it's okay to cry.
I think that's a really important thing to just think about.
Because I would tell myself that because my younger self would understand emotion because my younger self had to deal with it. So my younger self had to deal with something that he didn't have the language for. So if I were to go back, if some time machine were to be a thing, I really hope time machines are a thing. That would be a really cool concept. Nevertheless, if it was to be a thing, I would go back and tell myself it's okay to cry. And honestly, probably watch my younger self break down.
And just be able to just hold
and
them.
have that and hold myself. I would probably cry too. We would all be crying. I think that's how that would go. But I would, because that one moment would probably help me to understand that for my future, you have to know and be able to communicate how you feel. Because if you don't, people will walk and keep going, and life will keep going. And after the time that you suppressed and suppressed and suppressed and let it fester and let it fester and let it fester, you'll have a moment that you feel like you can't recover from.
And you'll blow up.
And you'll blow up. And when it finally does all crumble to the ground, you have to find a way to recover from that, though the recovery looks impossible. So I think that's what I would tell myself, because I feel like my younger self deserves to hear that.
For sure.
You know? So, yeah, that's how it would go. First of all, that was a full circle moment. I'll tell you why it was a full circle moment. Progress is not linear. That's like, it's not really a full year, but it definitely was a whole moment just now. That, okay. That definitely was a whole moment just now. So, thank you. Thank you. This is a good conversation. Shout out to Inner Circle Legends, Mukad Media, 5000 for letting us use this space. If you like our content, follow us on YouTube, Instagram. What is the website? I'm going to get it right. www.baltcityschools.org. Boom! I got it right. Fun fact, I mess up the website every time.
I messed it up too. I can't.
Oh, I always think it's Baltimore and it's not. City Schools TV for our YouTube channel, Baltimore City Public Schools for Facebook. With that, these are your announcements. Govern yourselves accordingly.